तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। ॐ परमात्मने नमः। अथ षोडश दैवासुरसम्पद्विभागयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अभयं सत्त्वसंशुद्धिः ज्ञानयोगव्यवस्थितिः दानं यज्ञश्च स्वाध्यायः तप आर्जवम् अहिंसा सत्यमक्रोधः त्यागः शान्तिरपैशुनम् अहिंसा सत्यं क्रोधस्त्यागः शान्तिरपैशुनम् दया भूतेष्वलोलुप्त्वम् मार्दवम् हिरीरचापलम् तेजः क्षमा धृतिः शौचम् अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातस्य भारत दम्भो दर्पोऽभिमानश्च क्रोधः पारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानं चाभिजातस्य पार्थ सम्पदमासुरीम् दैवी सम्पद्विमोक्षाय निबन्धायासुरीमता मा शुचः सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातोऽसि पाण्डव द्वौ भूतसर्गौ लोकेऽस्मिन् दैव आसुर एव च दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्त आसुरं पार्थ मे शृणु प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च जना न विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारो न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते असत्यम् अप्रतिष्ठं ते जगदाहुरनीश्वरम् अपरस्परसम्भूतं किमन्यत् कामहैतुकम् एतां दृष्टिम् अवष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानोऽल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्त्युग्रकर्माणः क्षयाय जगतो हिताः। ॐ तत्सत् सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। I think we will just browse through quickly the third.
There was a suggestion from Brahmraji yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, that we might read this the whole thing completely. Can you please check with her?
Wonderful. Yeah, sure. This is the Sampati, right?
Please check with her if I'm not mistaken.
No, I heard yesterday she had told it's better to repeat. I will not repeat from the beginning. It will be like the verse. Yeah, Brahmaraji, I will quickly browse through the first, second, third verse, or
Yes,
only.
Bilaji.
Yeah. श्रीभगवानुवाच अभयं सत्त्वसंशुद्धिः ज्ञानयोगव्यवस्थितिः दानं दमश्च यज्ञश्च स्वाध्यायस्तप आर्जवम् अहिंसा सत्यमक्रोधस्त्याग. Kindly correct me whether I should pronounce the visarga there. Ahimsa satyam tyag shantirapayshunam daya bhuteshvalo mardavam hrirachapalam तेजक्षमा धृतिः शौचम् अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदं दैवम् अभिजातस्य भारत. Shri Bhagavan said, freedom from fear, purity of mind, steadiness in contemplation, charity, judicious restraint, performing rituals, recitation of one's own branch of Veda, religious discipline, austerity, alignment of thought, word, and deed, absence of hurting, truthfulness, resolution of anger, renunciation, resolution of the mind, absence of calumny, compassion for living beings, absence of ardent longing, softness, modesty, absence of physical agitation, brilliance, composure, fortitude, cleanliness, no thought of hurting, and no exaggerated self-opinion are there for the one who is born to the wealth of Devas, Arjuna. Each word here is a quality for the one who has cultivated or is born into the spiritual wealth. Devim sampadam abhijatasya. Each one of these has to be understood thoroughly. Fearlessness. Abhaya is fearlessness. This is not the absolute abhaya of the wise man, which is freedom from the sense of duality. That is born of naught and is not what is discussed here. Here, we are looking into the attribute of the mind of a seeker. And this fearlessness is with reference to a number of things. And it depends on the sources of fear. What are the sources of fear? The primary one is death. This is not an ordinary thing and can only be eliminated by knowing cognitively that Atma is not subject to time. Fear is an emotion, and like any emotion, it is always preceded by a thought that we normally fail to recognize. That thought is the missing link which has to be discovered. The fear of death is a particular thought that is always backed by a certain relevant emotion because the love for survival is instinctive. This very natural love to be is inbuilt in the creation. No living organism wants to die. An animal always runs from a predator because instinctively it knows it will die otherwise. The fear here is instinctive, born of a love for survival. Cognitive appreciation here of the fact that I, Atma, am not subject to death can neutral the thought which precedes the emotion of fear. The thought, I will die, is not seen by you. Only the emotion of fear is seen. If you can detect the thought, I will die, you can begin to inquire into it. What is it that is going to die? The body? It is definitely going to die. Nothing can stop it. That which dies always dies, and what can die does not. This is anityatva vichara. It is not that suddenly one day the body dies. It keeps aging because, like anything in the creation, it has an inherent disintegrative factor, entropy, which drives order to disorder. Being put together, it has a natural tendency to fall apart and therefore meant to die like your car. The more you understand this, the better you can appreciate being alive today. You can celebrate life. All you have to plan for is one day today. And since you only need to concern yourself with today, you need not spoil it by quarreling with anybody. It is something like traveling. There are always some people who create problems. You just put up with them. After all, it is just for a few hours. Similarly, for one day only, every day I celebrate living and I am not afraid of death. This technique of neutralizing a thought or a pattern of thinking by its opposite is called Pratipaksha Bhavana. Thereby, we bring about a cognitive change so that the thought of death either does not come or if it does, the neutralizing thoughts arise along with it. We have to create such antibodies in our minds in order to deal with these fears as they arise. As the thought, I will die arises, it is met with the thought, the body will die. That is inevitable. But that I am alive today is a matter for celebration. When this body will when this body will die is anybody's guess. Ask anyone in the emergency ward if he planned to come there. Then you will understand. Some grace has to operate to keep us alive, and therefore, that we are alive today is a matter for celebration. One good thing about death is that it has to be dealt with only once. When it comes, we will see what we have to do. Till then, it is not a real problem. By the time it comes, we may be ready to go. We may welcome it. A story is told of an old Swami who had lived for more than 30 years in Uttarkashi and Rishikesh. When he fell ill, his devotees wanted him to come down to Delhi or Dehradun so that he could receive proper treatment. One day, the Swami said to one of his disciples, suppose you are a busy man talking to a group of people. An old man walks into the gathering and you very busy. He sits in one corner, evidently waiting to talk to you. He is sitting far and not interested in the satsanga, but is just waiting to talk to you. Gradually, all the people leave one by one. Now, will you get up and go to your room? Or will you call the old man and ask him what he wants? The disciple responded, I would definitely talk to him and perhaps finish with all the other people in order to do that. Then Swami continued, similar is the case here. Ever since I came into this world, I have been busy doing one thing or the other. And this old man, Mr. Death, who came along with me, has been waiting very patiently all this time. Now he thinks that this is the time to come to talk to me. Should I give him an interview or should I escape from him? Since he has been patiently waiting for so long, it is only right that I give him an interview now. It is time now. Death is always around the corner, mobile in the form of every vehicle, and stationary in the form of microbes and so on. There is no escape from him, for it is the nature of this body to die. It is put together and is therefore subject to disintegration. The more intimately you understand this, the the less of a problem death becomes, and the more disposed you are to celebrate life. You are fearless with reference to death only when you celebrate today. Each morning that you wake up is like a new birth. After all, what guarantee is there that you will wake up in the same body? That you do is a matter for celebration. Perhaps for one more day you can do something useful. You plan well for only one day at a time. Even a plan for the future is only today's plan. Tomorrow you may change it if the changing circumstances require that, but for today you have a plan. If you live like this, you can laugh at death or at least face it squarely. Besides death, there are many other things we fear, particularly the future. But if we look back, we have been surviving all these years in spite of our fear. The fear has not only been useless, it is something we definitely would have been better off without. To neutralize this fear, to neutralize this fear too, all we have to do is to understand that we need only to deal with one day at a time. One very rich person I know was always afraid of his future. To help him get out of this fear, I gave him an exercise. Though he had 3 cooks at home, I told him that he should cook for himself for a few days. For each meal, he was to cook only what he required for that meal. Nothing was to be saved. The first time he cooked too much. The next time he had to reduce the quantity. As he did this, he discovered that the amount of food he needed for one day could be gathered even by begging, and his anxiety for the future was gone. What is really required to overcome the fear of the future is the inner strength, the spiritual strength of knowing just how little you require to survive. Then you have no fear. Just to live is not a major accomplishment. Even a mosquito lives. Go to a jungle and see how many creatures there are. It is teeming with millions of life forms. What retirement plan do they have? They all live day to day and in doing so keep teaching us how to live. You may be worried, but millions of bugs living in your own stomach are not concerned at all. They keep multiplying geometrically, living a good family life with their children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren as long as you are alive. This fear of what will happen in the future is meaningless. Another way of approaching this is to look at what happens if you lose something. So much of our fear is centered on loss. Loss of life, loss of name, loss of power, loss of hair, loss of teeth, loss of health, loss of possessions, loss of relationships, etc. Suppose you lose some power that you have. Just look at yourself without power. If you strip yourself of whatever power you have, you are still there very much as a person. Essentially, nothing is lost. And look at the person who has power. See what problems he has, centered on his power and his fear of losing it. Cognitively, by inquiring into this in this way, we locate the thinking that triggers the emotion of fear and then neutralize it by further inquiry. One has to do that. It is a kind of a job to be done so that the antibodies arise even as these thoughts arise. It is just intelligent living. So that is a fear or abhaya. Sattva samshuddhi. Sattva samshuddhi means purity of mind, antahkarana shuddhi. If all the values are properly understood, there will certainly be antahkarana shuddhi. But here it is mentioned separately as a value. It means clean thinking, which is expressed very beautifully by Shankara as giving up of deceit, cheating, and falsehood in your interactions with people. If you are free from these in your thinking, there is naturally a certain cleanliness in your interactions. You have sattva samshuddhi. So beautiful. We can correlate to remember them like Shaucha, as we saw in the further shloka, no? Intercleanliness and even the external cleanliness. So Sattva Samshuddhi is mainly to deal with Antahkarana Shuddhi. Gnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. Gnana Yoga Vyavasthiti means steadiness in contemplation. Knowledge.
Belaji, uh, one
Yeah.
thing I wanted to clear, like the falsehood in your interaction with people is that what you are feeling inside you do not show, rather you cover up yourself, or you just uh, show the positive side of you, but inside you have that malign feelings or bad feelings inside, like
That is
just covering up.
Arjavam. No,
Arjun.
that is Arjavam.
Yeah.
Then what does this, like, falsehood in your interaction with people, how
That
we will
also, okay.
define this?
This
Yeah,
is the
that's
whole thing, as a whole body, mind.
falsehood means, I think, like you said, you
Telling
have
lies.
you like you said, Arjun is also one, you're thinking something and then saying something else. But like, say for example, somebody's coming to your house and you don't feel like having them that time, um, and then but yes, they are already at your door and you are just smiling and saying, oh hi, I'm happy to see you, like, but then inside you're not feeling the right. right way or something like that. I mean, that's what I felt it was a falsehood.
Falsehood
Anjali,
is
what about
in your interaction with the people. So falsehood in your interaction with people, or you can say, oh, I'm not here, you don't answer the phone, something like that.
Yeah, you are giving a wrong information to the persons in front of you. Like
yeah,
if you are
that's not
dealing,
true. Yeah, that's not true, right? Like I'm here, but I'm not answering the phone.
yeah,
Or
but Didi,
you're
what
not.
about not disclosing all the information, just giving a little bit out of
Yeah,
a lot of
that's also right. Yeah, because you're giving false information, filling up form and making the theft, identity theft, and things like that happens because of that falsehood.
no, giving some information, but right information, but not all information. Sometimes people hide certain things, like they don't tell everything about it, they just tell a bit of it. So what is that like?
Here, I believe it is the as a value system we have to see. Each one of them are interconnected. It is not in isolation we have to see. Here, what it means is clean thinking. Like when we tell someone about some exaggerated thing which are not true in reality.
Or even telling lies also.
Yes, telling lies.
Because here it says deceit, cheating, and
cheating.
falsehood. So
Yes,
maybe
falsehood in
telling
your,
lies. Yeah.
yes, telling lies. So as a value, you do not have very, very important to understand. So as we read further, it was told by Swamiji that they become natural as you follow on this path. They become natural, the clean thinking. Anyone, I mean, I hope it is clear. Like Arjavam, as it is said, in our behavior, in our action, in our thinking, everywhere there is alignment. That is Arjavam. That what we are thinking is what we are doing. There is no mask. But Sattva Samshuddhi means here the purity of mind. You say as black and white. You say as it is, the things as they are.
Here we can say we need that Arjava for Sattva Samshuddhi. Sattva Samshuddhi is what? Purity of mind. And for that, we might need Arjava also, right? So that is one of the qualities you need for to have Sattva Samshuddhi. We can take this as falsehood. I mean, the falsehood can be Arjava also, right? Because what you think you would be saying, and I mean, that is the quality which would make you have that Sattva Samshuddhi. This is what is my understanding.
Now, to be in sattvic mode, actually, sattva, samshuddhi is completely food, that, thinking, all purity of heart, we can say, completely. When we do all the sadhana, we can have this, it comes naturally to us. We will
so
not.
when purity of mind is there, sattva samshuddhi is there, then actually all the qualities would automatically
Correct.
comes.
Correct.
correct.
Very true.
That is what I am telling.
Very, very true, Dr. Savitaji. Yeah. This is the like a foundation.
Yeah, so that is why they have described it in the initial part, sattvam sam shuddhi, so that when there is purity, then you're further, then there will be steadiness also, there will be arjvam also, there will be
Yeah,
all
shaucham
the
also.
qualities.
There will be
Shaucham
shaucham.
also. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a
Your-
part of sattva. It is a part of sattva.
Very beautiful word, Sapta Samshuddhi. Yeah. Yeah. Then the next is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti means steadiness in contemplation. Jnana, knowledge here, is self-knowledge as received from the Shastra and the teacher. The meaning of the word Atma and of the word Brahman has to be properly understood. Every word has a relevant reality, vastu. So, the reality of these words has to first be cognitively appreciated from the Shastra and the teacher. Then, that understanding has to be released from any obstruction it may have due to a certain lack of preparedness. This is taken care of by Nidhi Dhyasana, contemplation on what you have understood, and this is called Jnana Yoga here, where yoga is meditation. That meditation releases the knowledge from obstructions which deny you its roots. To assimilate your own knowledge as something that is very much with yourself, you have to contemplate upon yourself with a certain mastery over the senses, etc. I repeat, to assimilate your own knowledge as something that is very much with yourself, you have to contemplate upon yourself with a certain mastery over the senses. Okay, so here Swamiji means to say here, my understanding, that for accepting the Atma, Paramatma, Atma is Paramatma, we have that preparedness through meditation, and which will help us gain certain mastery over the sense. That is why one-pointedness, ekagrata, etc., is implied in meditation. You make that same knowledge gathered from the teacher and the Shastra very immediate, very well known, with no doubt at all. In other words, free from all obstructions. You stay with the knowledge until a time comes. You do not need to stay with it because it is yourself. There is no need to stay in yourself. Till then, there is a seeming attempt to stay. This tendency to spend time in contemplation is very natural to a person who has spiritual wealth, daivi sampat. Even the choice to gain spiritual knowledge is due to daivi sampat. Before he proceeds, Shankara makes a note here. He says this Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti is the most important one among all the others that constitute Daivi Sampat, and says Daivi Sampat is a wealth which consists of Sattva Guna and is therefore Sattviki Sampat. And for the word Sattviki, he gives a general definition in a brief but important statement. Yatra yesham adhikritanam ya prakriti sambhavati sattviki sa uchyate. When the pursuit is only on things that are to be done and nothing else, it is said to be sattviki. In the Vedic society, they had
The things to be done according to the Shastra.
Yes.
What to be done?
Mhm.
When the pursuit is only of the things that are to be done according to what dharma and nothing else, it is said to be sattvic.
Very true.
Continue.
Yeah. In the Vedic society, we had Varnashrama Dharma, a code of conduct that is defined according to what particular group a person belongs to. All activities required to maintain the society were divided into 4 groups, and the people were also divided accordingly. The duties a person was qualified to perform were determined by the group he belonged to and were all well defined. The concept behind this is that a human being is here to accomplish the particular end of moksha. Whether one listens it or not, this is what everybody wants. Nothing else will satisfy the human heart. Since the basic problem is one of self non-acceptance, acceptance possible only when a person discovers the self to be free from any lack, in other words, complete. And the self happens to be complete. Discovering this fact releases the individual from his erroneous sense of imperfection. When this is the ultimate end, all activities are reduced to duties. Then, by conforming to these well-defined duties, one can neutralize the likes and dislikes, raga, dveshas, that disturb the basic pursuit of moksha.
Balaji,
Certainly,
your
there is.
voice is breaking, like little
Oh,
bit more.
is
But
it?
but I think we can read that whatever you're
No,
reading
if it
now.
is, no, these are very important things. So if it is breaking, it is kindly help me to read. I can continue sharing the screen or whichever way.
Okay. If you want me
Sumaji,
to
if
read,
you
I
please
can read
be,
it for you. Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine.
let me
Okay.
just check if Sumaji or Rinalji can take over.
Okay, if okay, they're going to screen it, that's fine. I will try my best, and maybe have a little cough,
Yeah.
but
Actually, this is more important here. Very, very nicely told, This
Yeah,
paragraph is very, very important.
Right now,
yeah,
you are clear, Belaji.
okay,
Because what he says is, when you understand what is your goal, that moksha, and when you live it, you will not have means you are full, means completely. You don't lack anything. So whatever duties you can do it. It is the reverse, What we think that what we have talent and we have to make ourselves like that. But every human beings, the end, he will be become purna, or when he can become complete only by moksha. That is the last goal. Okay. So when we reach there, we lack nothing. Okay. So if we are divided in this Brahmana, this group by birth or whatever it is, what Brahmana has to do has to be done without his like and dislikes. If he doesn't like it, no. Means that neutralizes the raga dvesha. That is one way of looking at it. And that's how it came. If you read completely, we will understand it. Continue, please.
In the Vedic society, we had Varnashrama Dharma, a code of conduct that is defined according to what particular group a person belongs to. All activities required to maintain the society were divided into 4 groups, and the people were also divided accordingly. The duties a person was qualified to perform were determined by the group he belonged to and were all well defined. The concept behind this is that a human being is here to accomplish the particular end of moksha. Whether one discerns it or not, this is what everybody wants. Nothing less will satisfy the human heart, since the basic problem is one of self non-acceptance. Acceptance is possible only when a person discovers the self to be free from any lack. In other words, complete. And the self happens to be complete. Discovering this fact releases the individual from his erroneous sense of imperfection. When this is the ultimate end, all activities are reduced to duties. Then, by conforming to these well-defined duties, one can neutralize the likes and dislikes, raga, dveshas, that disturb the basic pursuit of moksha. Certainly, there is sacrifice and yielding when the raga or dvesha is not in keeping with dharma. But every time you give up, you grow, because what you give up is less than what you are. Very beautiful sentence. I repeat this last line. Certainly, there is sacrifice and yielding when the raga or dvesha is not in keeping with dharma. But every time you give up, you grow, because what you give up is less than what you are. As this inner growth takes place, one gains a certain amount of dispassion or objectivity, which becomes natural in time. Therefore, to make a person emotionally, spiritually, and ethically an adult, you require a suitable infrastructure. This was provided in the Vedic society by what we call Varnashrama Dharma. In this system,
Can you little bit project this one, the paragraph, please? Just I want to read something. Lower. Okay.
From here, once again.
Yeah, don't read it, but I will just. Okay, little more.
Little below.
Up. Okay, very good. Up. No, the Vedic society. You start from Vedic society.
Okay.
Okay.
Now?
Okay, full screen.
Okay.
I want the full paragraph. Down is not coming. That's good.
Just a minute. I'll reduce so that you can get the full.
Yeah, good. So good. I'm taking it because I need. Okay then. Thank you.
Yeah. In this, may I read further, everyone?
Yeah, please continue.
In this system, each person has a given occupation determined by the family into which he was born, Varna Dharma, and certain behavioral norms dictated by his stage of life, Ashrama Dharma as a student, householder, one who is preparing for renunciation, and a renunciate. One who performs to this is called an Adhikrita Purusha. He is enjoined to perform certain duties. What is to be done in a given situation is usually very obvious. That is duty. When one's pursuit is only towards that, even though there may be the tendency to do something else, what is done is duty. As a result, the person becomes a master of his own raga dveshas and enjoys what we call Daivi Sampat. Whether he is defined as a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, or a Shudra in terms of his vocation, he is a Brahmana by quality. This is reflected in his disposition and attitude. The qualities of such a person are described in these three verses. They are either natural to him or he is mindful of his activities in terms of these values. So beautiful. I think this was very beautiful. Detailed description was there that we are not Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra by birth. It is depending on our karma. We become Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya.
Karma and guna.
Yes.
The story of that a meat cutter and
Yes,
a
cobbler.
household, that story was related to this only, no? That they were
Correct.
all elevated, but though they were doing different professions, different tasks. So,
Yes.
yes. Yeah.
Correct. And
Yeah,
that woman who,
one who was a Brahmana, he was seeking, and he said they are more evolved rather than me, and they have more knowledge.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for recalling.
Yesterday
Very
Gurudev
nice.
spoke about the Vyas Gaddi, that Vyasa was Rishi, Vyasa was the Machwara, and how he became the knowledgeable or downloaded everything and given to us. And that whatever who teaches that seat is said Vyasa Gaddi. So he is not by birth Brahmana.
Yes, correct. Very beautiful. He was a son of a fisherwoman. Yeah, Matsyagandha. Satyavati. Yeah, very beautiful. To develop a disposition in which sattva is predominant, a duty-based structure is helpful. By doing your duties, whatever they are, you become a Brahmana. In a society in which everybody is trying to become a Brahmana by doing what is to be done, there is no competition. Until recently, the concept of duty was very much a part of Indian culture. Today, of course, the society is changing and the Varnashrama system is breaking down. But the spirit is still valid. Any given situation presents itself in a form which necessitates an appropriate action. That action becomes duty. So Brahmaraji's that kartum shakya anyathava kartum shakya. In every society, the duties and responsibilities are very clearly spelled out. Without that, collective function is not possible, whether at home or in society at large. What one should do must be clear, even if there are only two people involved. The one who does just what is prescribed, not only in terms of actions, but also in terms of attitudes that reflect proper values, is able to do so because he has a disposition that is predominantly sattva. One of the actions that characterize a person of such a disposition is dana, giving. So the next Daivi Sampatti is dana. Shankara qualifies dana by saying that it is giving according to one's capacity, a proper distribution. In giving, it is important not to place yourself in a position of having to receive later. Your giving must be responsible. It should not exceed your capacity. There is a limit which you stretch as much as you can, but you never exceed it. If because of excessive giving, somebody has to give to you later on, that charity is meaningless. Charity must also be given to a worthy recipient, and the one who gives must have a proper attitude. In the Shastra, it is said that if something is to be given, it is to be given with Shraddha, Shraddhaya Deyam. It is not to be given without Shraddha, Ashraddhaya Adeyam. You must know to whom to give, and in the giving, both the giver and the given should feel blessed. That is called dana. If you give and make the other person feel obliged to you, that is not giving. You give in such a way that the person who receives is happy and does not in any way feel small. That is real giving. Certain attitudes are important with reference to giving. If somebody gives you something, however small, you remember it always. Your gratitude never diminishes. But if you give, you forget about it. You may remember and feel fortunate that you had an opportunity to give, but that pride, I gave, is gone. You consider it an opportunity because you know very well that the situation could be reversed. Thus, if you can give without making the recipient feel small or obliged, it is giving. I think that is why Gurudev always says, no, neki kar or kuwe mein dal. You should forget.
But with this one sentence, like the situation can be reversed, that will
Yes.
make you so grounded.
True.
I mean, that will pin you, in that knowledge.
Very true.
So if that reverse should not happen, you should restrict to your capacity.
Mhm.
See, it includes all.
And that humility will be there when you are
Yeah.
giving, because you could be in his position, the person's position where you are. And if somebody is making it obvious to feel obliged, then you'll feel small and obliged. If you were in his place, it would be the same for you.
all these knowledge, all these characteristics is completely coming to know that if I was in their shoes, what would have happened? Means which I don't want others to do with me, I should not do it. These all characteristics, I don't like some persons to blame me, so I should not also blame. I should not be stolen, so I should not steal. So all such thing, all these characteristics is, we have to understand that what others don't want, what I don't want, I should not do it for others. All this, whatever, all the characteristics. That is Devi.
Yeah, very nice. Certain attitudes are important with reference to giving. If somebody gives you something, however small, okay, this I think I already read, right? Okay. Everything is like that. Suppose it is your job to manage people. If you make them feel that they are not managed, that they work along with you, you are a good manager. If you can manage them without giving them a complex, you are a great manager. This cannot be contrived. It must be a genuine attitude towards your fellow human beings and certain facts. Jobs differ. Somebody is in a position to say, do this. Somebody is in a position to do it. But one is not superior to another. Duties differ. This is all there is to it. Why should you give? What do you get out of this dana? In giving, you part with something. Therefore, naturally, there is a loss. There is a suggestion by Dr. Renu and Sarlaji that we finish reading first and then discuss. Okay, yeah. I will request someone to take over after maybe few minutes. If somebody can take over now, it will be appreciated. Mrinalji, Sumaji, or
Yeah, I can take over.
yeah, Dhanyavad Sumaji. I think page number 93.
Okay, I'll share mine.
Yeah, Dhanyavad.
I'll read from here, certain attitudes.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Certain attitudes are important with reference to giving. If somebody gives you something, however small, you remember it always. If someone gives you something, however small, you remember it always. Your gratitude never diminishes. But if you give, you forget about it. You may remember and feel fortunate that you had an opportunity to give, but that pride, I gave, is gone. You consider it an opportunity because you know very well that the situation could be reversed. Thus, if you can give without making the recipient feel small or obliged, it is giving. Everything is like that. Suppose it is your job to manage people. If you make them feel that they are not managed, that they are working along with you, you are a good manager. If you can manage them without giving them a complex, you are a great manager. This cannot be contrived. It must be a genuine attitude towards your fellow human beings and certain facts. Jobs differ. Somebody is in a position to say, do this. Somebody is in a position to do it. But one is not superior to another. Duties differ. This is all there is to it. Why should you give? What do you get out of this dana? In giving, you part with something. Therefore, naturally, there is a loss. But there need not be a sense of loss. When you give away something, you may be diminished materially, but you do not become less than you were. In fact, you gain. In giving a gift, there is surely an element of joy. And further, even though there is a giving away, there is always a gain in that you are bigger than what you gave. Then again, to the extent that you can happily part with the things you love, you are free. Someone who does not have anything that he cannot happily part with is totally free. Your attachment to things is not just that you cannot happily give them away when there is a deserving person. Thereby, you grow richer. In India, dana is very common even today. There are hundreds of ashramas in Rishikesh, and all of them are run by public charity. Similarly, there is always abundant distribution of food because dana is a deep-rooted cultural value. In the village where I grew up, except for rice paddy, food was never sold. It could only be distributed. I remember it being a small scandal when one woman sold ghee. It was considered a great sin. Once there was a proposal of marriage to one of the girls in our village from a rich family in the nearby village of Mayavaram. But neither the father nor the mother of the girl would accept the alliance because the father of the boy was running a restaurant. That meant he sold food, and the money earned from that was considered papa because food should only be distributed. Even today, in villages in Andhra, they will not sell any milk or milk products. Food is to be distributed, never sold. Also, the Kshatriyas in the West Godavari district are not supposed to sell milk products. They consider it below their dignity, even improper to sell them. In Punjab, you will never see a beggar because food is distributed every day in the Gurudwaras. And it is rich, substantial food. The value of giving is very great in India. Even a poor person gives whatever he can. For a value of dana is ingrained in all people. It is so important because giving is part of growing up. It's clear, no? Dana. Dhamma. Dhamma means control at the level of the sense organs and organs of action. You act deliberately and not led away by your fancies. It is alertness with reference to your mind. It is purely a will-based value. Dhamma is purely a will-based value. Dhamma should be there in everything: talking, walking, eating, moving around. Every expression must be appropriate. This is Dhamma. Self-control, Dhamma. Control over the body, mind, senses. and it is a will-based value. Yajna. Yajna is performing daily rituals which are of two types. One is called Shrauta Karma, consists of Vedic fire rituals like Agnihotra, which are performed daily. The other is called Samartha Karma, which consists of prayers, daily puja, chanting, japa, and so on. So yajna, two types. One is with the fire rituals and the other consists of prayers. Both have to be done daily. Praying, chanting, japa, and so on. So all the sadhanas, everything come as is a yajna. Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is the daily recitation of the Veda and is considered a prayer that produces punya. According to Shastra, punya can take you to heaven, etc. But it can also remove old papas, which can hinder your spiritual pursuit. This is the type of punya that is sought here. Recitation of Veda, Veda Parayana, is considered to be a spiritual karma meant to produce a special punya, which is converted into an atmosphere or situation where you can grow spiritually. So Swadhyaya is also done every day. Anyone wants to say, add anything? So what comes to my mind is, that is why our temples are open all 7 days and welcome anybody at any time, except when it is closed in the afternoons. Because Veda Parayana is definitely done in temples. So being in that atmosphere can help us grow spiritually. So very beautiful. Am I audible or am I just reading? Are you
No, you are. We can hear you. It's there was a suggestion that we do Manana later on. That's why maybe nobody's responding.
Oh, okay, fine. So Swadhyaya is very clear. Tapas. Tapas here refers to any religious discipline. In the 10th chapter, Shankara defined it as Indriya Samyama Purvakam Sharira Pidanam. Sharira Pidanam. Indriya Samyama Purvakam Sharira Pidanam. Practicing various disciplines at the body level backed by a control of the sense organs. That is tapas. Practicing various disciplines at the body level. So like our upavas and all that, fasting is also a tapas. Controlled by, practicing various disciplines at the body level backed by a control of the sense organs. Many kinds of such tapas disciplines become a part of the sadhana, that is that a jignasu undertakes. Now, here in the 16th chapter, after almost completing the entire teaching of Vedanta, Bhagavan again picks up the values that a jignasu has to cultivate for the assimilation of knowledge. And in this context, he talks of tapas and is going to elaborate on the threefold tapas later in the 17th chapter. So here Shankara just says that this tapas will be elaborated later and proceeds. Arjava. Arjava, as we saw it in the 13th chapter, is an alignment between the mind, the word, and the action. It is speaking what one thinks and doing what one speaks. And this becomes complete when combined with Satya and Rita, truth and action, where one has the value in constantly ensuring that one thinks is right, and in addition to speaking, what one believes is right. Krita. Krita is belief. There in the 13th chapter, Shankara defines Arjava as Rijobhavo Avakritvam. Rijobhavo Avakritvam. Straightforwardness and absence of crookedness. This is an important value for a jignasu because any compromise in Arjava one does only due to ragadveshas. And as long as ragadveshas determine one's actions, the assimilation of the knowledge cannot take place. That is why Bhagavan mentions Arjava in the 13th chapter, where he is enumerating the jnana sadhanas. And he considers it so important that he reiterates it here and again in the 17th chapter. So Arjava, walking the talk. No ragadveshas should determine the action. It is straightforwardness and absence of crookedness. Ahimsa. Ahimsa is the absence of hurting any living being. Here, not hurting is not only limited to human beings but extends to all living things, including trees and so on. A hurtful act, like any action, can be threefold according to the means used: physical, oral, or mental. We deliberately avoid hurting any living being by a physical action. Although speech is also one of the organs of action, it is treated separately here. Mentally also, one can perform an action, like meditation or prayer. Although one may have stray unkind thoughts about a person, if they are entertained volitionally, it becomes a mental karma. A mere thought does not become a karma unless it is backed by an agent who is deliberately using his will. Satya. Satyam here refers to speaking the truth because words can be hurtful. One is advised to say not only what is truthful, but what is also pleasing and beneficial. We have a mandate to speak only what is truthful, Satya, but while doing so, we may say something hurtful. So we are enjoined to say what is pleasant, Priya. And while it is important to say what is pleasant, it should not be at the cost of what is true. It should not be false, Antra. Why does anyone tell lies? It is only due to fear of facing certain facts about oneself. But not being truthful only makes the person weaker and weaker. Therefore, honestly facing situations and facts as they are, and then being honest in conversation is the way to overcome some of these fears. In speaking about something, our words should convey the sense of it exactly as it is, That is, it has to be Yadhartha, with no omissions or embellished merits. What is Satya and even Priya may also sometimes be useless. We therefore try not to use words which do not serve any purpose. This implies care in using adjectives and in choosing words that most accurately convey what what the thing or situation is. So this implies care in using adjectives and in choosing words that most accurately convey what the situation or thing is. If you restrict your speech to what is useful, naturally you become conscious about what you say. So we'll stop here. For Manana, you want to share some of your thoughts on these values that we read. So this talking about what is true and what is pleasant. So honestly facing the situation and the facts as they are. And then being honest in conversation is the way to overcome this fear. Why we tell lies is because we are fearful of facing the truth about our facts.
Losing something. Fearful of losing. Therefore, we tell lies.
Yeah, there was a talk maybe 2, 3 days before it during satsang. Guruji also has talked about this. Someone asked the question which I asked in the group. If you have listened to him, maybe you could go back. It was the next day itself. Someone asked him the same question which I asked, whether lies can be told. Then he has answered it. Maybe it would be better if you listen to him.
You can also share what Gurudev said, so we will go back and listen to it. If you remember.
Yeah, because maybe you people remember what I talked about, because it was not to, keep somebody comfortable. I used to tell lies like my mother. Then he said, if it is not creating any trouble, or if it's not harming anybody, it is okay. It's like using as much salt as needed in the food. You are allowed to say. This is what he said.
Thank you.
I may not be putting it in the right words. That's why I thought,
No, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. What if it's not harming anybody and if it is saving someone's mind from agitation?
Yes.
Yeah. Satya, then ahimsa. Ahimsa is physical, oral, and mental against all living beings. Practicing non-violence in your thought, words, and deeds against all living beings. So intentionally acting on a unhealthy thought will create karma. A mere thought does not become a karma unless it is backed by an agent who's deliberately using his will. It can be good thought or bad thought also. If we are intentionally going along with that thought, using our will to do that, good or bad action, then it becomes a karma. It can either get us papa or punya. Then Arjava, I think it's very clear, no? Alignment in thought, word, and action. This tapas is very nice. It is control over the indriya samyama purvakam sharira pidana. So practicing various disciplines at the body level, backed by a control of the sense organs. And the jignasu must undertake some tapas. It becomes part of our sadhana, or should be part of our sadhana. Why should we do this? So that knowledge is assimilated. I'm reminded of Gurudev says, too much knowledge can cause indigestion. And for knowledge to be assimilated, we must do tapas, both at the body level and at the sense organ level. I'm reminded of Narendra Modi ji is taking 11 days of upavas, no? He's undertaking tapas right now.
For me, it is extremely difficult to do in the fasting. My body cannot take fasting at all. Maybe I'm a Pitta Prakriti, but that is what I miss doing because mostly ladies around they keeping fast. I can't do that.
Have you tried what they call now intermittent fasting? That is, eat at sunset and then eat next day after sunrise. Have you tried that? That's not real fasting.
Yeah, that I follow. Only 2 meals and certain time I'm eating, though odd hours I'm eating. But I'm trying to do that. Yeah. But the full day fasting, like Brahmaraji and all, they do Ekadashi fasting and all, which is unthinkable. And I think she's also Pitta Prakriti, but I am unable to, do that kind of fast or whole day fast with some fruit also. That I cannot do.
But I know Gurudev has said that fasting is not for everyone. But maybe you don't have to do that kind of tapas. Some other tapas will be there. I don't know. Because here he says tapas of various kinds.
Yeah,
And one tapas is fasting.
correct. And he is going to elaborately telling us in 17th chapter.
17th chapter.
Yeah.
Here we can take this also as a yajna, no? Because somebody's Vaishwanar is very strong pitta kind of thing. So it needs more ahutis, frequent ahutis. So that way, if you take the food, no, then it becomes very pavitra ahuti only, no? So then it won't give you any negative effects. Even just this simple, I have started chanting this Annapurne, Sadapurne, Shankara Pranavallabhe, Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham. This is important line. Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham Diksham Dehi Cha Parvati. With this attitude, when you eat, no, it actually becomes the offering to the God, to the Lord. It is not udara bharana nohe. It is not just filling up your stomach. So never feel guilty if you are frequently feeling hungry. Maybe the pitta is more dominant, and is that your Vaishwanar needs that ahutis. So with this attitude you do now, there will be no guilt. You will feel more happy, and your body will also be more joyful because it needed that ahutis, no? So that's what I wanted to share. The shifting from oh, I am eating and I am this thing, it's just offering, and for what? To gain the vairagya and jnana. This attitude has helped me a lot. Jai Gurudev, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll do that, definitely.
Yeah, thank you for that. Swadhyaya is Veda Parayana, daily recitation. I used to think Swadhyaya was self-study, but now I understand that is self-observation. But now I understand the difference between the two. So Veda Parayana brings special punya, produces a special punya, which is converted into an atmosphere or situation where you can spiritually grow. So very important. Yajna, this we know. Dhamma we know. This we saw in detail. So anything else? Tomorrow we can do Akrura. So shall we wind up for today?
Yeah, sure, please.
Which shloka should I play? You want
Brahmavali Mala.
Brahmavali? Okay.
That was really good.
Okay, so let's close our eyes. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
In a fast-paced industry like fashion, everything
असङ्गोऽहम् असङ्गोऽहम् पुनः पुनः सच्चिदानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्यशुद्धविमुक्तोऽहम् निराकारोऽहमव्ययः भूमानन्दसागरसागरः सच्चिदानन्दस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्योऽहं निरवध्योऽहं निराकारोऽहमच्युतः परमानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः शुद्धचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् आत्मा रामोऽहमेव च अखण्डानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रत्यक्षचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् शान्तोऽहं प्रकृतेः परः शाश्वतानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तत्त्वातीतपरात्माहम् मध्यातीतः परशिवः मायातीतपरञ्ज्योतिः अहमेवाहमव्ययः नानारूपव्यतीतोऽहम् चिदाकारोऽहमच्युतः सुखरूपस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः माया तत्कार्यदेहादि मम नास्त्येव सर्वदा स्वप्रकाशैकरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः गुणत्रयव्यतीतोऽहम् ब्रह्मादीनां च साक्ष्यहम् अनन्तानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः अन्तर्ज्योतिस्वरूपोऽहम् कूटस्थः सर्वगोऽस्म्यहम् सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः द्वन्द्वादिसाक्षिरूपोऽहम् अचलोऽहं सनातनः सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रज्ञानघन एवाहम् विज्ञानघन एव च अकर्ताहम् अभोक्ताहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः निराधारस्वरूपोऽहम् सर्वाधारोऽहमेव च आप्तकामस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तापत्रयविनिर्मुक्तः देहत्रयविलक्षणः अवस्थात्रयसाक्ष्यस्मि अहमेवाहमव्ययः दृग्दृश्यौ द्वौ पदार्थौ स्तः परस्परविलक्षणौ दृग्ब्रह्मदृश्यं मायेति सर्ववेदान्तडिण्डिमः अहं साक्षीति यो विद्यात् विविच्यैवं पुनः पुनः स एव मुक्तः स विद्वान् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः घटकुड्यादिकं सर्वं मृत्तिकामात्रमेव च तद्वद्ब्रह्म जगत्सर्वम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः ब्रह्म सत्यं जगन्मिथ्या जीवो ब्रह्मैव नापरः अनेन वेद्यं सच्छास्त्रम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः अन्तर्ज्योति बहिर्ज्योतिः प्रत्यग्ज्योतिः परात्परः ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम् ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम्
Thank you so much.
Thank
Jai
you.
Guru.
Jai Guru.
Jai
Jai
Gurudev.
Gurudev.